up, Jones Bones? It is your girl, Unitedly Random, and my hair looks like that because I put some oil stuff spray on it to like go ahead and like detangle it. So it's just sitting on there right now. But yes, I have been having a day. Like me and Stu, like we have been going back and forth. We always go back and forth. I just think that Stu wanna fight, okay? Like I just feel like he wanna rumble. He just wanna throw hands, okay? Like he wanna go into a ring with me, okay? Like he trying my gangster sometimes. And like I just have to remind him that I am not the one to be trying. And like ever, period, okay? Like I have a mouth on me and it will never shut up if I feel like you are doing me wrong or dirty or any type of way that I don't like, okay? Or if I feel like you're treating other people wrong or dirty or any type of way that I don't like. I cannot, for the life of me, shut it up. I cannot, okay? Why? Because I spent too many years shutting it up as a child. And so now as an adult, I'm at this point where I could shut up and I could just shut up. I could not say things. I could not talk about the things that irritate me, right? But the problem with not talking about the things that irritate you is nothing ever gets better, okay? I did it for 20-something years. So for me and for my relationship to work, any relationship that I am in, we need to be able to have conversations. Even if you don't want to have the conversation, we can put the conversation off for another day. We can put the conversation off for an hour into the future, but like we still gonna have the conversation. Period. Okay. If I feel some type of way, we're going to talk about it. And the problem with that is people don't want to talk about their emotions. People like to box their emotions in. Okay. But the problem with boxing your emotions in and not talking about your emotions or not talking about your feelings is then your feelings become part of the catalyst to ruining the relationship in the future. If you can't communicate with someone, how can you be with someone? So that is something that I'm definitely for. Big on communication, big on talking about how I feel. I don't know how other people are going to do it, but I suggest y'all get along and start doing it too, because we ain't got time for passiveness, okay? If you want something, ask for something. If you need something, ask for it. If you feel like a certain boundary needs to be made or it needs to be met by your partner, open your mouth, because your partner is not gonna read your mind, and that's something I stand by, okay? I can't just sit back and be quiet, okay? It's something about how I was raised. It's a lot about who I am, okay? My mom used to hate this about me. She used to tell me that if I was born back in the day that she was born in, I'd probably would have gotten killed for disrespect, okay? She's told me that a couple times. She said, if you were married like me back in the day, a man would have a couple times. But the thing is, that's the good thing about me not being back in that time. Because also, you know, on top of women getting abused back in that time, women were also secretly killing their husband and getting away with it. So let somebody put their hands on me, I'm gonna take you down. I'll go, look, back in the day at least, back in the day, I'd have no problems with murking someone that abused me. Like, honestly, my mom, okay, so I was thinking about this earlier today. My mom used to whip me when I was a child. And let me tell you, I would internalize that whipping and I would think about how when she gets old, I was going to have fun with her. I was going to have to pull out that belt and I was going to have to get her when the Alzheimer's started to hit, right? And she didn't necessarily know what she was doing, okay? Because I think that that would be the perfect time to start abusing my mom with a belt like she did me as a child, because I was young and did not know what I was doing. So, you know, just role reversal. But anyway, it is such a good thing that I got out of that household when I did, because your girl was starting to turn twisted on the inside. It wasn't showing on the outside, and that's the dangerous thing about when things don't show on the outside. When you keep it all in until you explode and then you keep it in again. I used to go through habits, well, patterns, roller coasters, if you will, of just bottling all my emotions in and then exploding and then bottling it all in and then exploding. I don't do that shit no more, okay? It was the most worst feeling in my life. I could not handle it. It felt so gross and disgusting. And also, like, those episodes were so draining. So now I just go ahead, and if I have a problem, I speak about my problem when I have my problem. And you know what? My problem gets solved. My needs get met, okay? Because I'm not going to allow my needs not to get met. You feel me? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wet my face. And while I'm wetting my face, you're going to watch this intro.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And we are back. Now, I could tell y'all why I kind of went into the conversation of this. I saw a TikTok. Now, we got a TikTok the other day. I was going to go more wholesome before we even started this. I was like, I'm not going to bring up the TikTok that talks about race. But then I brought up especially how I deal with things. And I've been told from TikTok and from other people of color and other people of the Caucasian descent that this is more of a Black woman thing. And I've seen a lot of TikToks that have talked about it. This specific one that I'm going to be showing you is talking about a man talking about how women, white women, have a fragility about themselves in which they can still control the situation in a way that Black women don't have. So Black women have to be more forceful because we aren't necessarily taught how to be fragile but still be able to be in control. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people are saying that women are the ones that are in control. In a lot of cases, men, they are just being manipulated a lot of the time by the women, okay? And the ways that women can do these types of manipulation tactics are by being subtle or being subtly aggressive. And see, I don't do the subtly aggressive. I'm not finna manipulate. I feel like that's a lot of gaslighting. That's a lot of control. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to be upfront with it. I can't do the fake stuff, right? But it's a tactic that women can employ that I just can't do it. And they're speaking about how a lot of people were speaking about how Black women aren't allowed to really be fragile in that manner. And now we could really talk about this and have a deep conversation with it. I was gonna hold it off till next year because you know YouTube got problems when you bring up the conversation of race, but it is really a conversation that I think is an interesting one to have because I exist in this world, and we could both say a lot of my viewers are from different races and whatnot. I exist in this world, and I could give you a lot of my story, and people will comment on my story from their point of view, and then that's the danger of it all, because your point of view doesn't also account for my Blackness if you aren't a person of color, right? And my Blackness has a lot to do with who I am, okay? I have a lot of subcategories, but being a woman doesn't automatically outshine me being Black. I am a Black woman, and so there's like different subcategories like to being a Black woman, and there's also a subcategory to being a Black woman who is also neurodivergent, which is like ADHD and maybe even autistic. I don't think I'm autistic, but I have a lot of the thingy things that come with autism. But like, and the thing is with neurodivergency, these things also kind of combine in together because it's just my abnormalities, okay? But don't think I am autistic, but I'm just saying a lot of the things like TikTok will have you thinking, okay? And if you guys want to get into that conversation, I'm more than happy to explore it on camera because I'm trying to figure things out myself. But yeah, I wasn't going to give you all this TikTok. I had another TikTok in mind. It was going to be more wholesome. It was going to be like, when you're growing and yada, yada, yada. But I'll just do that one for tomorrow because this situation brought it back into the forefront of like, let's have that conversation. And I've never really been one to really shy away from having a conversation about my Blackness. I just don't have that conversation a lot because people get really offended when you start talking about race. Specifically, if I start talking about my own race or things that I've really experienced, and I have started to, there's one thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about sexual harassment in the Black community, because I believe that it is a little bit different than how sexual harassment is viewed. It's a little bit more aggressive when it's pointed towards a Black woman. I've spoken to other Black women, and they have also confirmed that yes, it turns out to be a little bit more aggressive. And I wanted to give my reasonings behind why I think it's a little bit more aggressive in our communities. And it really does have a lot to do with Black men secretly not really liking Black women. Spoiler alert, there's a thing going on in that, and like it's really backed by a lot of personal experiences that I have noticed. And I think I want to get into having that conversation at the very least, because I think that it's an interesting conversation to have. And I think that if I open up my mouth and say, hey, these are some things that I am noticing in the community, maybe some people can come back and have an intelligent conversation with me about how what I'm saying can be misconstrued because of my trauma or something like that, or at least have a legitimate conversation with me, because at this point I'm having it with other Black women, and I haven't really had the opportunity to speak to Black men about this. But any Black men that can have an intelligent conversation about what I'm saying aren't the Black men that I'm talking about too. So it's just kind of like, how do I have this conversation in a manner that actually gets answers and actually starts to help my people? Because I am a Black woman. I want to help my community so that men aren't doing women the way that you're doing. But also, it is also a thing that is dying out. So I wanted to shine a spotlight on something that's already dying. And it's like, why do I need to shine a spotlight on something that's already dying out? Because the newer generation aren't the same as the older generation, but because of the way my body is shaped, and I'm a brick house, the way I'm shaped up, I've dealt with a lot of the older generation. And so I dealt with the older generation, but I'm a part of the new generation, and so I have my new generation thoughts about the older generation that I always wanted to share, but I had no one to share it with. Now, I have been rambling on. I'm going to go ahead and rinse this on my face. Y'all will go ahead and watch the TikTok of the day.
I made a video about this, similar on this topic, where, I've said that white women know how to survive the wrath of a man, while Black women, being, the lack of protection, they've had to learn to stand up for themselves no matter what. So, like, when I was dating white women, the first majority of my life, I would notice that if I did something wrong they didn't like, or we were having an argument, they wouldn't challenge me. They would either like agree and let the issue die, or they would start crying. And so I started to realize that, well, let me say that when I was dating Black women, is that they would call me out on my BS every time. And that was a shock for me. I didn't start dating Black women until I was like 21, 20. Yeah, about there. And I was just, when she called me out on something I did, I was like, damn. And I owned up to it. That was the first time that I'd ever been called out on my actions by a woman. And the way I see it is that white women have learned how to navigate men and to not make him feel challenged. So she'll know how to communicate and when to bring something up, when not to say it, how to say it softly and things like that. Instead of just having open communication, transparent communication, it would be like a dance. And, making him feel comfortable to where when she does want something, he'll do it for her because she's been so sweet. And it's a form of manipulation of not having that kind of open communication, to where he'll feel like he's in control, but he's actually not. And she's able to steer the boat while whispering in his ear. So that's what I say. Like, it's just generationally. You think about how white women, we know how during slave times, how white women were treated by their husbands, and they had to deal with it, because what were they gonna do? And so the grandmothers taught their daughters, and it just been passed down for white women about how, and this other creator, somebody tagged her in one of my videos, she talked about how white women have never had their own agency, their own power. They've only had to learn how to use the power and agency of white men to get things done. And that goes into like the jealousy that they have towards black women, because black women have had to create and they emit their own power that comes from them, because there is no leverage that they can use from other people, and the sense of femininity and agency. So that's my opinion, my perspective of what I've seen with my personal experience, and also when we look at history of white women know how to manipulate, and maybe that's why there's not a discussion that we have so much on us. We talk about submission over and over again, and there's always pushback because white women have learned to navigate that in that way.
So yeah, it was like what I was telling you guys about black women and whatnot, and there's a lot more different TikToks that I could just start bringing up about the conversation of race, because I think that the conversation of race, since I exist in this paradigm of being a black woman, is a very interesting conversation that I can have, specifically because I have a lot of personal experience with being black, and I think that it'd be a nice conversation to have. But then again, I wonder if it would just be me exploiting my blackness for views. So like, I'm a little bit on the fence, but I think I do want to have these conversations with people, because I don't know how people view me and my blackness on my channel, because I see myself as 100% black. I'm blackity black, blackity black. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay, so in this conversation is something that me and Stu will have back and forth about like blackness, and like this, we have these conversations. It's kind of hard to put it into words, but because Stu is mixed, which is something we talked about before on the channel, and I think that it's just so much to say. But yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more in the future. If you guys have any questions about my blackness, I'm happy to answer them. At this point, I think today is a spray day, so we're gonna go ahead and spray. And like, as you can see, my hair is just like kind of puffing up. It's moisturized a little bit just at the roots, so the roots are puffing up. I'm going to go ahead, and I guess I could put the honey and stuff on there while I'm in front of you guys, so give me a second. I stopped putting the moisturizer on my face because I felt like the moisturizer wasn't giving me what it was supposed to be giving. And also it turned my hand orange, and I was like, I don't want to have to deal with that. So I stopped using the moisturizer. But this is my hair, and I think that it's very interesting. I love my hair. You know, it's 4C hair. You get it wet, she'll shrink and get really small. And I think there's something really beautiful about my hair. Like, I love my blackness, okay? I might not listen to rap. I might not be what people imagine a black person to be, because I have heard that before. I've had people just assume that I listen to rap. They assume a lot of things about me. I don't even listen to rap. That's simply because of my mom. She was an older black person that didn't really listen to rap. She was more old school, smooth jams type of person. And so because of that, she didn't really like rap. And then I also grew up associating like rap with my brother, who was a bully to me, but also if you guys saw any of my trauma timeline, he did some other things to me. So because of that, I didn't really associate that much. And then also I was bullied a lot by the black community. So while I am a part of the black community, I am also a part of the black community that was shunned and not really accepted into my blackness. And I think that had a lot to do with my neurodivergencies, ADHD, and how that made me interact with other people my age and whatnot. And then also trauma that I was holding around in my back pocket, like, yeah, you guys, and making perverted jokes, because that's the only type of conversations I knew how to have because of trauma. So because of that, I definitely grew up feeling isolated by the Black community. But one thing that I couldn't run away from is older Black men and how they will sexualize the hell out of a little girl. So we talked a little bit about it on my channel, and you know, I have a more voluptuous body, so I was more of a target growing up. But it goes to say that I have to point out that Black women are sexualized more, and that we are seen as grown at certain ages a lot faster than our counterparts. And people will say, well, you know, a Black woman matures faster, this or that. And I think at the end of the day, it's not necessarily we mature faster, we just have a little bit more. But just having more doesn't necessarily mean that men should start to do and speak to young girls the way that they speak to them. And I've seen a lot of cases in which it proves my point that Black women are not as protected as we should be. Not to say that, not to say how it is in another community, but I'm seeing a lot of issues in the Black community, and I can only really speak on the Black community. But there's something going on, and I want to get to the bottom of it while I'm on this earth. And I think that also, I keep saying it, but I believe that it's something that has been healing over time. I believe that it's something that other people are not necessarily going to have to deal with. My sister generation, they're probably not going to have to deal with the things that I had to deal with. And again, my generation, we're growing up, we're becoming more awoke, and we're learning, you know, and that's the best thing we can really do for ourselves, is become awoken and learn and grow, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up. And at this, y'all can see like my hair, it's been blow dried for it to be like braided, but like this is my hair right now, you know. Yeah, she just do what she want to do, and I just put up with it. But you know, she's puffy, and you know, once I wash her, she gonna look like she just an inch tall once she gets washed. But like, this is her in all her glory right now, and the sides are growing out. She's losing a little bit of hair along the edges. Well, not along the edges, but she's breaking off because she was braided. And you know, your hair sheds quite often, but she's staying moisturized, and that's all I could really ask, because at this point, she's growing a lot better than she's ever grown before. The best decision that I could have ever done for myself is to get to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to grow in my size anymore, because my size did not grow. Okay, you see this? They were not growing. Well, they're growing now, but like when I actually had hair, they did not grow. Anyway, it's only a minute left, so let me go ahead and let you guys know. Much love and positive vibes, and I hope to see you guys again next time. Let me know if you have any topics that you want me to explore on my channel.